So this is a very light touch story. It's coming out in Caitlin Press. It's not out yet. This is a total sneak preview of what's going to be an amazing anthology. There are a lot of people in that anthology. Climate change. There were scientists, non-fiction writers, fiction writers, poets, and it's called Rising Tides. Something else, but Rising Tides. Yeah, I know. It's, and I feel like it's coming out next month. So this is a story that I wrote for that. I always put a quote at the beginning of something when I'm working on it, and I normally pull it out. It's like a security blanket for me, but Kate was like, I think this should stay in, so I'll start with the quotes. John Shanklin. Clearly, we do not understand the full consequences of what we did then, because we are still inflicting major changes on the atmosphere. Then it was chlorofluorocarbons. Today, it is greenhouse gases. And the story is called Where Were You? Because I've also been thinking about nostalgia and how nostalgia can be a safe place for people. And so the idea is like, where were you when you first learned that there was problems in the world? And for me, it was the hole in the ozone layer. It was almost summer vacation. Tiff and I had spent Sunday afternoon prank calling guys on the phone in my dad's study, spinning in his leather chair and breathing the damp and spicy scent of pipe tobacco he stockpiled but never smoked. When that got boring, we yapped it up at the hand drawings of squishy naked people in the Joy of Sex book my parents kept on the top shelf. At 4 o'clock, Tiff had tennis practice. We breezed past Mom in the kitchen, and I gave Tiff a Capri Sun juice to hold her through the walk to the leisure center. She returned Mom's wave and gave me a wink. Bye, Jessie. We air kissed, because Tiff saw it in some European movie and said everyone here would be doing it soon. She had 2 sisters in senior high, so she always knew what was going to be cool long before anyone else. She always had the best hair, bangs that went nearly 3 inches straight up and cascaded into a churning wave of crunchy curls from her temples to her shoulders, where they softened a bit into a wash and wear perm. Held in place with scads of Aquanet. We all used Aquanet. That's what our moms used. Bye, Tiffy. After the screen door snapped shut, Mom asked me how much hairspray I thought Tiff used on her do. That's what you called it, a do. And that made me think of beehives or bouffants or other ridiculous hairstyles Mom wore when she was my age. I sucked on my Capri Sun and watched her grate cheese on the casserole, trying to figure out why she was asking. Behind her, the microwave clock flashed 12 in digital green. I knew exactly how much hairspray Tiff used because I'd seen her do it a million times, including touch-ups after gym class or an unexpected hard rain. About a fifth of a can. A day? Mom sucked in her breath, and I wondered if I'd somehow miscalculated the risk of sharing this information and was in trouble for something. But what? Jess, do you know about the ozone layer? I shook my head. Something was happening, and it was Tiff's fault. Maybe my fault too. Maybe everyone with good hair. Mom put the grater down and sighed. Well, I don't know much either, not yet. It's in the sky, and it keeps the sun's rays from getting in and killing us all. Of course, I knew the sun could be harmful. I put suntan lotion on in the summer, but not that lame fluorescent zinc oxide that Tiff said was only for teeny boppers. I'd never realized that we had a built-in shield. What does this have to do with Tiff's hair? I asked. Apparently, the hole is caused by hairspray. Baloney. She didn't seem angry that I sassed her, just a little bit glum, like she had other things on her mind. She pulled a newspaper clipping off the fridge and gave it to me. How long do we have? The headline said. I shoved it in the back pocket of my shorts. I'm going outside. Jess? Oh, yes, Mom, I have suntan lotion. I banged through the screen door and stood in the front yard. Shielded my eyes with my hands and looked up. The sky looked the same way it always did in the summer, the color of swimming pools, threaded with wispy clouds. What would a hole in the ozone look like? A tear into black space with killer rays shooting through like lasers. Was there any way to close it? Seemed like something a superhero would have to do. At least some of the answers must have been in my back pocket, but after standing there for a while, all I could think about was how happy the sun made me feel. Just a minute or two with it on my face, and I was smiling, thinking about long, lazy vacation days at the beach. How could a person possibly worry about the weather when it's like that? A familiar truck drove by slowly, and the passenger whistled at me. Todd Smith. Nice ass, he yelled, like he didn't see it every day in class. Brian Green was driving. He was older than Todd, in senior high. Where's your friend? He called. Gag me. I waited until they were down the street and flipped them the bird, something TIFF would do. Brian's truck lingered at the stop sign, and I wondered if he'd seen me give him the finger, but eventually he took a slow left and disappeared. I sat my nice ass down on the lawn, wishing there was a suntan lotion to make me miserable. The next day, in science class with TIFF, I found myself staring at her hair. I noticed she was trying an even more ambitious than usual do. It was a trophy, something that set her apart from other girls. And people took notice. The guy who did the school photos had spent extra time on her, getting the lighting just right. He said, looks like carved wood. He kept saying, swishing his hands around her head until she rolled her eyes at me. She laughed, and I laughed, too, loud, until the principal poked her head in the room and told the photographer to get on with it. Good hair was truly a blessing and a curse. We weren't learning about the weather, but I raised my hand to ask Miss Simpson about the ozone layer anyways. She pushed up her glasses. The ozone layer is between 15 and 30 kilometers above the Earth's surface. Ozone is created naturally when oxygen molecules. I waited for her lips to stop moving so she could get to the point. But is hairspray destroying it? People laughed. Tiff kicked me under the table and I wondered if she thought I was making fun of her. Hairspray. Simpson blinked. The problem is chlorofluorocarbons. In hairspray? Tiff asked. Chlorofluorocarbons are fully halogenated paraffin hydrocarbons produced as a volatile derivative of, why don't science people ever just answer your question? After class, Tiff was all over me. Just because you're jealous, she tossed her hair. It's not. My mom said, I reached into the pocket of my shorts, but I'd watched them last night, dissolving the newspaper clipping. A hand closed over mine. Yup, your ass is still there, Todd Smith said, grinning like an idiot. My body clenched at his touch, but I smiled back, guided his hand away. Still there, I said. Todd kept smiling, and stupid Brian Green peeked up behind him to make eyes at TIFF, and it was obvious we'd been selected as summer romance delegates by these boneheads. I barely said a word to Todd that year, and neither of us had ever talked to the senior high guys, so why us? Gross me out, Tiff said, as they stomped off, cackling like crows. Tiff elbowed me in the ribs. Did he touch your butt? Yeah. Ew. Come with me, she said. The light in the basement girls' washroom was terrible for makeup, but hardly anyone ever went down there, so it was quiet. We pulled out our bags and went to work, relining lids, dabbing pressed powder on jawlines. The bell rang and we ignored it. Tracy pulled out our hairspray and went to town. The mist around us growing so thick we had to breathe through our mouths so we wouldn't sneeze and screw up our mascara. I watched the little dust particles find each other in the air and cling together. When we were done, we just left. It wasn't the first time we ditched. It was only 4 days until the end of the year, and most teachers had checked out anyway. The sun beat down on us, and Tiff talked about the zipper front bathing suit she'd seen in an Italian magazine her mom read. It's gonna be hot this year, she said. Zipper sounded uncomfortable in the sun. Bring the magazine over and show me tomorrow. We took the long way back to my house, waiting for 3 o'clock just to be safe. Mom was out, but she left cookies. I picked at one while Tiff went to use the bathroom, but she called me in, laughing. I asked her what was so funny, and she pointed to the counter. The Aquanet had been replaced by a pump action bottle, something called Ice Mist. It looked expensive, like it came from an actual salon instead of the drugstore. A sticker across the top said CFC free with a little happy face. She's really worried about the ozone layer, hey? Tiff said, spraying the ice mist and recoiling as it came out in a heavy stream. This shit is never gonna work. I guess she is, I said. Moms are such boneheads. Total boneheads. Hey, what are we gonna do about Todd and Brian? Tiff said, pulling her brows up so they arched dramatically. Don't know. I didn't want to tell her that the only thing I felt was ashamed. That I hadn't yelled back that afternoon on the street or slapped Todd when he touched my butt. The whole thing felt weird. Do you like Brian? Don't know. She pursed her lips and sucked in her cheeks, flirting with her reflection. He's okay. What happens if we don't like them? I said, trying to sound breezy. The wheels were already in motion, whether I liked it or not. What could I do? Don't know, Tiff said. Sun spilled in the bathroom window, and the AC kicked in with a low rumble. Summer out there, our protective coating was wearing thin, and I suspected ice mist wasn't going to be enough to fix it. Thank you. What is this? It's just a note. Yeah. Thank you.